Okay, good afternoon everyone. How's the Josh? Okay, wonderful. Okay, so welcome to the first class on anthropology. Okay, I hope some of you might have attended the orientation session, I guess, right? Others? Not yet? Okay. So anyway, so in the orientation class, I just mentioned about anthropology and what we will be studying, etc. Those who did not attend that class, it's okay. I have shared with you all a document, welcome document. Okay. So you read about it. Okay. It's just telling you what all we'll be studying. Okay. How we'll be conducting the classes, etc. I don't want to repeat that session again. Okay. So I'll just take 5-10 minutes as to how our classes will go on, what you are expected to do in the classes, and then we'll start with our first topic, okay, in anthropology, that is the introduction to anthropology. Okay. Now I think most of you might have already decided to take up anthropology, so or if still somebody is in dilemma, okay, you can attend 2-3 classes, you'll get to know how good this subject is, and then you will yourself take this optional. Okay. Anyway, so that is up to you. Now, so what we will be doing in this classes, we will try to cover the entire syllabus from the exam point of view. Okay, so all these sessions, all the classes, all the topics, explanation, writing down, everything will be focused on the exam. Okay, it will be for UPSC exam itself. Okay, so it's not about getting mastering anthropology as a discipline. Okay, we will be focusing from the exam point of view, what is required from the exam point of view, how much is required, because that is very important. Okay, not just being intelligent, but also being smart, knowing what not to study, knowing what to study. So that is what we will be doing in the class itself also. Okay, class also, that's what we will be doing. So there are certain concepts, terms, ideas that we will have to know for our, for writing good answers. So those we will be explaining. So topic by topic we will try to cover in the classes. Once I explain a particular concept, I will dictate that, okay, so that at the end of our session, you will have one comprehensive notes on anthropology. Okay, that is what I feel is very important for your mains examination. You should have one comprehensive notes, okay, which you just have to keep revising, about 100 times before your final exam. I don't know, you all have already started your prelims GS, yes? So you might have heard, like in polity you read Lakshmikant, yes, from page 1 to the last page. Something like that, we will be preparing a notes. There is nothing like an anthropology for a textbook for UPSC. So that we have to do it on our own in the classes, okay. So at the end of the session, you should understand the basic concepts, ideas, okay. Second, you should have notes for the entire syllabus, okay, your own notes, and enough space where you can add new topics, ideas, okay, case studies, etc. Okay, so that is number 2. Number 3 is you should be revising that about 100 times before your examination. If you do this, you will be, getting rank 1 like what happened, in 2020 also. Anthropology is a very scoring subject, okay. You will be able to get rank 1 or rank 3, okay, in anthropology as an optional, okay. So my job has been done easy by them to convince you all to take up anthropology, okay. Anyways, now, see what I expect from you is comprehensive notes. That's what we will be doing. See, you might find it, little bit tiring in, few days when you are having a bad day. Writing too much you might find it very tiring. Okay, but trust me when I say this, at the end, that is going to be your friend. That is going to save your, whatever. It's going to save you in your examination, because, anthropology, at least 80 to 90% of the question is very direct. Okay, so you should have a prepared answer. If you see previous year questions, about 80% of the questions are very direct from the syllabus or repetitive questions. So if you have a ready-made answer, you don't have to think in the examination. Your hand will do the writing. You can think about the next question. You got what I'm trying to say? That is the beauty of anthropology, and that is where we have to, focus on. So you should be, so thorough with your notes. You should know which side what is written. If there is a mosquito that you have hit, you should know, yeah, there was a mosquito. You should have that kind of a mental picture, not just by hearted, but also have that visionary memory where you should be able to reproduce whatever is there in the notes. So this has benefited all my students, so that's why I keep focusing on that. So I will explain a concept, idea, etc., and then give you the notes. So when I explain to you, you can write down your own micro notes or whatever, you know, as keywords, etc. That's up to you. Okay, but what is required from the examination, I will give it to you. Now, so you will be making around 6 notes. Okay, so how to make this notes? I'll just you know, help you. Like, you know, in school they tell you how to do all these things. Anyways, you might find it little childish, but you know, there is two ways you can do it. One is your hard copies, what you are writing. The other one is using technology. You know, technology now is used for everything, even for making notes. It's actually a very good practice. If you have a pad, you know, you make notes on that. You can add ideas, you can copy paste photographs, diagrams, etc. So it's a good way to make notes. You can use technology, like if you have an iPad, good notes can be used. Otherwise, Evernote is used, etc. You can just write it down. If you have a pen, you can write it down in that. That is one way of making notes. The second way is your regular notes, and please don't use ruled sheets. Okay, don't use ruled sheets, because in the final exam you have unruled. Okay, and then if you are not used to writing in unruled, in the final exam your you know, lines and all will be going one up, one down, etc. And that's not very appealing. So practice it right now itself. Don't use ruled one. Okay, you can have a notebook. The better way is to have a file, okay, where you bring in A4 sheets, okay, and then write, and then you can go on filing it, okay. But make sure that you don't lose the sheets by, on the way to your home, okay. So that is another way to do it. The reason why you can add these files, I mean, the advantage is tomorrow you get some new idea, you get some new example, you get new material, whatever, some extra paragraph from some other institute or some other book, you can always add it, okay. So that way you will have one, you know, a better way of making notes. So that is how you can make notes, okay. So that is number one. So as you finish each section, okay, as you finish each section, like socio-cultural, okay, or archaeological, or your Indian anthropology, or tribal anthropology, etc. After that, this notes will be reduced into what I call as micro notes, okay. So you would have written about 200, 300 pages, okay, of notes. That should be reduced to about 15 pages. It should be reduced to about 15 pages. So what will you be writing in these 15 pages is something which you will not be able to remember, something which is very important, like names, books, okay, or theories or examples which you can't remember. Stories we all remember, okay. So I will be telling you interesting stories. Those stories you will remember. But who is the actor in that story, okay, who was the villain in that story, that you won't remember. Okay, so for example, whichever is your favorite movie, you know the story, but what is the actor's name in that you won't remember. But in the exam you might have to write it. So there could be a tribe called as Nayars, there could be a tribe called as Todas, etc. You know the story, oh, Todas are these people, they are buffalo herders, that this. The story, when I tell you in context, you will understand it, but you will not remember the name. So those things you will have to make. So over the period of time, I will be giving you more ideas as to how to make this. So this is what you will be using or reading on the day of the exam or a week before the exam. Quick revision. This will be useful for your quick revision. Okay? Fine. Then as the class progresses, as you will be reading general studies, etc., you will be exposed to several case studies, okay, several examples, several data and facts which are important for the examination. Those things you will make a list of it. Okay, important schemes or important policies relating to tribals, etc. Just the names and 1 or 2 lines about it, which is very important for you to write in your examination. Again, around 10 to 15 pages of case studies, facts, data, etc. you should make at the end of your session, okay, whatever, this program. Okay? And then some standard textbooks, some standard materials, sources which I will tell you, we will read in the class. Matlab, I will tell you which page to read, what to read, etc. Okay, so those things you will be reading for reference, etc. That is what you should be doing. Is that okay? That's all. As simple as that. Don't have to work hard. Okay, be smart. Let me do the hard work. I will try to collect or study and try to give you the best thing that is required from the exam point of view. All that you have to do is this. Okay, so you don't have to read multiple sources, multiple textbooks. I will be doing that. So that's what you are here for, right? To shortcut your preparation. If you want to do the hard work, you shouldn't join this class. Okay, so that is what I expect from you. Don't do these things. Okay, don't start with guidebooks. Okay, I am telling you there are several guidebooks in the market. Don't start with that because your preparation gets diverted in a wrong direction in the beginning itself. At the end, once you have completed, yes, you can refer these guidebooks to get some specific examples, etc. But don't start with these guidebooks. Is that okay? Fine, there are many such written by toppers or their names are there in that, but they are not good to begin with. Maybe at the later stage as you mature in anthropology, you can refer them, but not now. Okay? Next, holding of materials and journals. Okay, because as you go back home, as you walk in Chandra Layout main road, okay, you will find so many books. Everything will be like, come buy me, and you feel like buying it. Everything looks nice. Every institute, every books, everything is available. You feel like buying them. One, it's waste of money. Second, it is going to be very harmful for your preparation. There is this theory, Gresham's law, which says that, less information is bad. Okay, because without information you can't take decisions, correct? Without information you can't take decisions. It also says too much information also is bad, because if you have too much information you can't process that information. So what is the right thing to do? Have the right information, enough information. See, what does the government do if the government wants to hide something? Okay, so we got RTI, right to information, where all the information is now easily available for citizens. You just apply and you get the information. If the government really wants to hide something, what do? They give you more information. You ask for something, where is my this something, okay. So instead of giving you that specific material, that specific information, which is of 2 pages, they'll give you a 1000-page bundle. Search it, enjoy. So in order to promote, opacity, more information is given. Don't do that for your preparation. Stick to one source, repeated revision, with limited source, limited information, write beautiful answers. That is the key for success. At least in this examination, that's what you are supposed to do. So don't get carried away by this material. So I know even after this and many days later also, many students will come and tell, international author, this book, my friend told, my senior told. Okay, this from Oxford University, this is from London University. Should I read this? Once you clear, you tell I read that. Okay, not now. Okay, not now, because you won't have the time. But once you clear, no, you can't say, no, I just attended sir's class, I cleared. You can't tell that. You should tell, yes, I said, but then there are standard books, because you have to show that you are not, any less. So that you use that for that, okay. Or if you want a good library in your house, I like books, so I used to collect them. So that's not a problem. You can, when you are bored, you can just refer them. So if you want to do that, it is okay, but not for your preparation, okay. So I'll do this, I'll hold the materials, I'll read it for you, but you don't do it. Is that okay? Next, don't get obsessed with case studies. See, this is one problem with anthropology, sociology, subjects which require you to write case studies, okay. So I have seen students, for, let's say, tomorrow there is a question that is asked, health issues of tribes of India, okay. Tribal health issues, okay, what is the problem, something related to that is asked, okay. How many case studies will you write for that? Maximum 2. I mean, like when you are explaining that there is maternal health problem, you will write one example. Like in Juang tribe, this is happening. Malnutrition is happening, like for example, this tribe, this is happening. Okay, so let's say 4 to 5 to be very conservative. Okay, you write some 25 case studies on health issues. What's the point? You know, what is the point in remembering 25 when you're not going to use it? Okay. So trust me when I say that, I'll give you enough, you know, but what happens is if I don't give a lot of case studies, you know, later on you will say, sir, didn't give any case study. So I will be overloading, you know, or I'll be giving more than what is required. Okay. But even then, you should be able to select those case studies. Don't get so hungry that saying that I want all the case studies, because you won't remember. When you don't remember, you can't use it. Okay. It will just help your junior who will use your book, and you know, it will be easy for them. So don't get carried away by case studies. As we conduct classes, I will show you how to use these case studies, write case studies, or you know, the appropriate case studies, how to integrate them in the classes. And then obviously don't complicate your preparation. Keep it as simple as possible. Have a system. Okay. Have a, you know, be disciplined. Don't be haphazard. You should know where your notes is, everything. You know, keep it very simple. Okay. That is what you're supposed to do and what you are supposed to avoid. Okay. So let me see. What is the exact procedure of note making in the class? Nothing, no procedure and all. I will explain and I will dictate. That's all. That's as simple as that. Okay. You can start each topic in a fresh page. Okay. Like I have seen student that, you know, bottom of the page there's like 2 lines, they will write here and then it will go here and then they'll, don't do all that. Okay. So just start a new topic so that if you have this much space, tomorrow you find a case study, you can just mention it over there. See, these are all simple things. I'm sure you are mature enough to appreciate that. But in spite of that, I've seen students do, so I'm forced to tell you all of that, you know. Okay. Anyways, so this is what you're supposed to do and avoid. Okay. Just go through the welcome document just to give you an idea as to what you can do, how to contact me, how to write answers, etc. And as we progress, you will be more comfortable with how the classes will go on. Okay. And the primary primary way of contact, would be during the class. Yes. So I can interact with you guys. So online students, I will be interacting through the chat box over here. You can ask any question. Okay. I can see the question. I will explain to you. So that will be the first mode of interaction. Second is after class, you can interact through Telegram. I have given my Telegram ID, so you can contact me for that. But you know, restricted to you know, relevant to anthropology and relevant to topics, not about class timings or other things, which will be discussed. Which will be announced in the Telegram group itself. I hope all of you have joined the group. So in that itself, most of the information will be available. The handouts will be shared in the Telegram group. Okay, and diagrams, etc., which we put up in the class. After the class, I will share that diagram in the Telegram group so that you can make note of those things. Okay, and classes will be held every day. Okay, so don't have to ask every day that class will be, what time is the class? Okay, so for those who are serious, it gets annoying after a point of time. So classes will be held every day. If it is not held, if it is not being conducted, I will tell you, I will inform you, or the team will inform you well in advance that the class will not be conducted. Is that okay? Otherwise, by default, all of you come here. Okay? Don't get worried that every day you have to find out whether the class is going to be held or not. What else? No, weekend is not there, weekdays. Okay? So see, we are not in a hurry to finish the see, all of you are giving 2022. Yes, 2022. Okay, so you have good more than a year left. So this is the right time to. No, I'm not talking about the prelims, mains. I'm optional teacher, no? So, right. Right. So anyway, so they will tell 8 months. Yes, correct. You buck up, but I'm telling you, relax. Okay. So anyway, so this is the very right time to start your optional. Okay. Anyways, I'll just explain to you that also. Right. So October, let's say October to Jan. Right. So we will finish the entire syllabus by January. Okay? You don't have to worry at all. Even without Saturday, Sunday, we will complete it. So why not Saturday? It becomes too hectic for me also, for you also. Okay, with all the GS and prelims and exams and tests and all those things, it becomes too hectic. Okay, you need some break so that you will be able to read what we have discussed that particular week. At least 4 hours you can dedicate to revise what we have done in that particular week. Enough time is there for us to complete it up to, complete the syllabus by January. So don't worry about that itself. All that I require is 2.5 hours every day of your class and about 1 hour every day, half an hour before coming or 1 hour before coming, just read. Okay, and after the class, read once, more than enough. Okay, and in the weekends, about 4 hours to revise and make micro notes. If you do so much, by January you should complete the syllabus, you should have got yourself oriented, okay, and also you should be aware as to what is there, where is there, etc. You should have given the test, one set of test by January. So June, once the exam is over, when you open anthropology, everything should come back, and June onwards you sit and by heart or write or whatever is your approach. That make sure that everything that you have read is reproduced in the examination. Is that okay? So you have done the right, you've taken the right decision by starting it right now. If you had started in January, it would be too late. Okay, if you had started in June, you would be preparing for the next year like that. So this is the right time, and it gives me also enough room so that I can provide some value addition topics, etc. If it is too late, no, it's too, I have to finish the syllabus, so I won't be able to concentrate on other things. So now, since we have started early, this is the right time to, we have enough time to complete it well in advance. Okay. Yeah. So where do we get this document? Yeah. So I think Telegram, all of you are there in Telegram, right? I mean, if those are not familiar with that, there is a section documents, yes, in Telegram. Okay, it's not like WhatsApp. So here you have a separate document section. Okay, over there you will find all the handouts that I share. Okay, those who join later also, you will find those handouts which I would have shared in the documents. Okay, you can just check it. So all of that will be saved in the folder, document folder. You can find that over there. You don't have to keep asking. You just go check it there once. I'm sure those who have joined late also would have found it. Anybody found it difficult? No, it's there in the document folder. Okay? And those who join late also, don't worry. You just go to the document folder and you will find it over there. Telegram link, I think, will be shared to you. Yeah, Monday to Friday is the class. Okay? Now, with respect to the materials or notes which you can read, so in the welcome document I have mentioned this. See, now to start off with, you can buy this book, Ember and Ember, okay, Anthropology. It's an international author. You can say I've read it later. Okay? So otherwise also it's a good book to get a good idea about what is anthropology and all that. And then there is one more called as General Anthropology by Nadeem Hasnain. You can start off with that, followed by one book on socio-cultural anthropology. Okay, one book on socio-cultural, any of it. I mentioned them all in the document, but anyways. So you can buy any one book on social cultural anthropology. Okay, Ember and Ember you should buy. Okay, and this you can buy, General Anthropology. Okay, Tribal India you must buy again. This we will be discussing in the class. I will be telling you what to read from that. So you need to buy that. Indian Anthropology you can buy for your collection, but otherwise most of them will be done in the class itself. At least this is something which you can buy today itself. Okay. See, I would say Ember and Ember is something which you can buy. Okay, it is a good read. Otherwise, I mean, I'm saying you don't have to. Okay, most of the case studies, etc. I will be covering it. Not a problem. But you are preparing for UPSC mains, optional. It's good to have some reference book, something which has been missed out, etc. You can definitely refer from them. You'll get it. You'll understand when I tell it. Later on. Okay, you can buy these books. Okay, or you will get some online copies and all. And you can see from that also. Sorry? I told, no, you start with this Ember and general anthropology. Okay, then move on to socio-cultural anthropology. This as we start that section. Okay. Okay, so about daily answer writing question. Okay, see, when I do a topic, I will give the previous year question what was asked. Okay, see, anthropology is what do you say? As I told you, most of the questions are direct, repetitive, etc. Okay, so I don't have to frame a new question. Like in GS, no, it's a big problem. You have to keep framing new questions every time. Okay, so Afghan crisis happened, so you have to write the political impact of Afghan crisis, okay, and its impact on India-Pakistan relationship in context of US change in the president, okay, while doing something else. Like, so you have to, like, you know, do all that. Anthropology means most of the time it is direct, previous year questions. So I will give you what topics will be asked in the examination. That itself is the question. Okay, you will understand when I say that. So you can take the, you know, you can write and submit those questions after the class, and I will help you to improve those answers. Okay, so that is what we can do. You will understand when I do the topic today, you will understand what I am trying to say. Any suggestion to balance GS and optional classes? See, since you are preparing for next year, there is enough time to prepare for both of it. Okay, so the target here is, with respect to optional, is finish your optional by January, at least one reading, make your notes, be ready, so that after prelims you should be doing it. After prelims, you should dedicate at least 50%, okay, or 40 to 50% of your time to anthropology, because it is scoring. Okay, meaning the more effort you put for anthropology, it reflects in your marks. Okay, because optional is, that is what is the beauty of optional. So you put in more effort, it is reflected in your final exam. Okay, so that way the rest 50% of the time focus on your GS. So GS, your faculties in GS will be helping you out with that. Recorded classes will be available, that we will discuss. You let to, I mean, don't think that it will be available, you know, it will be available as long as it is required, okay, by the students. So that much I can tell you. Okay. Online students can share their copies through Telegram. Yeah, through Telegram. You can share it through Telegram. Is that okay, guys? So shall we start then? Anything else? Any other doubt, guys? Fine. Right. So we'll start with the introduction. You'll need couple of days to get used to my style of teaching, okay, the pace in which I teach, but don't worry, within a week you will get comfortable. Okay, some might find it very fast, some might find it very slow. Okay, so anyways, within a week you will get used to my pace, okay, of how I take classes. Some of the terms and concepts you might find it difficult in the beginning, but we will be repeating it. So at the end of say 15 classes, you will be familiar with what we will be discussing. Okay? So give me that much time, a week's time, so that you will be comfortable. Okay? Done? So we'll start. Okay? So so this is your introduction, followed by socio-cultural anthropology. Okay? So that book you can start with. Okay? So over here today, I'll be starting with meaning, scope and development of anthropology, and then I will start with socio-cultural or social cultural anthropology. Okay? The rest we'll do it as the time comes, biological, archaeology. When we start that particular section, we will do it then. So we'll start with the meaning, scope and development of anthropology. Okay? So anthropology, again I will repeat what we had done in our orientation class. Okay, So this can be asked as a question. So define anthropology, its scope, its development, all of that can be asked as a question, but very rarely because it's a very simple question. Okay, but still it should be, you should know the topic. Okay, so it can be asked as a 15 marker question. Okay, 15 marks question, the meaning, scope and development of anthropology. Development means the origin and the growth of anthropology. So it can be asked as a 15 marker question. Okay, not 20 marker, I don't think so. 10 mark is too less to be asked. So you can be asked as a 15 marker question. See, this is what I told you. So if you want to write today answer, it will be about what is the meaning, scope and development of anthropology. Okay, so we'll start with that. So what is anthropology? Okay, what is anthropology? So I think one of your friend in online in the beginning of the class had said, I'm happy to know more about humans. Exactly. Okay, so it is the study of humans. Okay, it is the holistic study of humans. We study everything that is related to humans, whether it is the present, whether it is the past, or the changes that will occur in the future. Okay, so everything about the species Homo sapiens, okay, we will be studying in anthropology. So this word anthropology, if you try to split it, okay, it's derived from the Greek word anthropos, meaning the humankind or man, okay, and logos means the study, okay, or the science. So if you try to use that as a reference, so it is a science of mankind. Okay, it's a science of mankind. It is a study of humans. So that is what your meaning, the little meaning of it is. See, let me try to explain to you what we will be studying over here. So we will be studying the social, cultural aspects of human. So what is culture? What is society? So culture is what? It is the way of life. See, the way we behave, our way of life is culture. We wearing shirt, pant, okay, or sari, or any other dress, the kind of food we eat, the kind of language we speak, the kind of religion we practice, the kind of economic interaction we have, all of that is culture. What is society? What do you mean by society? Group of people, right? Group of people who have a common culture is known as society. Okay, so it may be bound by a geographical area or etc. So that is your society. So in socio-cultural anthropology, what do we study? We study societies across the world and their culture, their diversities, their similarities. We try to describe them, we try to analyze them, and we try to come up with theories to explain why people behave a particular way. Why in some society, you know, men are given prominence, why in another society women have prominence. So we need to describe them, analyze them, compare them. Okay, that is what we try to do in socio-cultural anthropology. Over the period of time you will understand more about it. Society is made up of people, yes. People interact with each other, yes. And when they interact with each other, they have certain role to play, yes. This role gives them status, or based on the status they have certain role to play, yes. Why is it there? To bring about some kind of an organization in the way we interact. So I have a status, I am playing a particular role, okay, and that interaction between us is leading to the formation of society. And if you take any society, the society is divided into institutions. Okay? Just relax and understand this. I'm trying to skip through a lot of ideas here. Don't get too worked up and saying, oh, institution, interaction, role. Don't get worried. Just enjoy what is happening in the class. Okay, certain terms, the pace in which I'm doing, You might be uncomfortable now, but you will get it. You will be there. Don't worry. Okay? So, if you take society, if you take our society, okay, is made up of several institutions. Okay, let's say educational institution, let's say religious institution, political institutions, okay, family as an institution. All right. So, the society is made up of several institutions. Institution is made up of people interacting with each other to form a system. That is what is society. Within that system, there is a role, there is a status, there is interaction. That is what we will try to study in socio-cultural or social cultural anthropology. Is that understood? So, we will take up marriage, we will take up family, we will take up religion, we will take up political organization, etc., and we will try to study them. We will try to describe them, we will try to analyze them, we will try to compare them, and we will try to synthesize theories. You know, we will try to come up with theories to explain why people are like this, why people are doing this, etc. Did you understand? That is what we will be doing in socio-cultural anthropology, which is a sub-branch of anthropology. Okay? Similarly, you have archaeological anthropology. So, archaeology is what? Archaeology is what? You dig up things and try to infer the past, right? So, the cultural remains of the past society. We try to infer the past society by, you know, excavating, trying to interpret it, etc. So, archaeological anthropology tries to do this only, tries to infer the society and culture of the past which has become extinct by remains, archaeological remains. There is a subfield under socio-cultural or archaeological anthropology called as ethno-archaeology. Have you heard? Ethno-archaeology. Ethno, again in Greek, means folk or you know, the way people live. Okay. So, ethno-archaeology, you know, it's a very interesting and emerging discipline in socio-cultural anthropology. Okay, ethno-archaeology. Don't worry, I'm just trying to give a lot of ideas in the first class. Okay, ethno-archaeology. See, what happened was the archaeologists were excavating and they were finding various cultural remains, meaning pots, earthen pots, metals, and you know, kind of weapons, etc. They were not able to interpret it because we come from a different society. That time there was something else. You find some kind of a tool like this. Let's say you find a tool something like this. What will you, I mean, how will you interpret it? What could it be used for? Hunting, religious practice? Okay, what was the reason of all this kind of tools? So, archaeologists took help of anthropologists. So, anthropologists through their study had found primitive cultures. I should not be using the primitive word, but anyways, for the first class it's fine. So, you know, all the tribals and others in some remote areas using similar kind of equipments, tools for some purpose, religious purpose. The chief used to hold that, let's say, an example. So, somebody is having this is a chief. We only know that if somebody is wearing a crown, they are the head, right, or the head or chief, king, etc. In some society, this is not the right way, holding something is the right way. So, then they can interpret that, oh, in present day society also such practice is there. In the past also there could have been similar practice. So, if they find a dead body with this, it means it's the dead body of a chief. So, interpreting the past by using the present is ethno-archaeology. So, like this, archaeological anthropologists try to infer the past by using the present or by using the artifacts that they find. Similarly, you have your biological anthropology, where we try to find out human variation. We are not the same everywhere, correct? No, racially we are all so different, right? So, in certain cold areas, the physical makeup of the individual is different. in equatorial region, they are different. Yes or no, right? So the human variations and the underlying factors because of which this variation is there, one of the major reasons is genetics, okay, and its interaction with the environment. So biological anthropologists study genetics to understand human variations, okay, and this has several other applications, because of which today biological anthropology is a growing discipline under anthropology. It's one of the fast growing discipline because it has got several utility. Today biological anthropologists are used as forensic experts. They are used in genetic counseling, genetic screening. They are used to devise nutritional products for a particular culture. Now for example, in Afghanistan, okay, there is a crisis going on, yes? So you might have read in the newspaper today or yesterday that the US has allowed for aid, food aid permit. There were sanctions, but now they have allowed for food aid to be allowed for Afghanistan. So when they are giving food to Afghanistan, now let's say we send pork to Afghanistan, what will happen? There will be another war, correct? No. So we can't send pork. Okay, let's say we send them, some other products, okay, microwavable pizza, okay, we send them. There's no microwave, what will they do with the pizza? You understood? So anthropology will help in trying to devise these, welfare programs, etc. I'm just giving you an idea so that culturally appropriate development programs, etc. can be brought about with the help of anthropologists. Okay, another new subfield is linguistic anthropology, okay, where, because language is not just culture, but also it's a way through which culture is expressed and transmitted to the next generation. So linguistic anthropology also has become a, it's a youngest discipline under anthropology, where we study about language, etc. I'll repeat this again later on, but I hope you got the picture as to what is anthropology. So we study everything, the culture, the society, the biology. So basically everything related to humans. In other words, everything under the sun we study under anthropology. It's a very superficial and holistic discipline, which unlike other discipline also studies genetics, other discipline also studies society, other discipline also studies archaeological evidence. But how are we, anthropology, different from other discipline? Others are part science, okay. So we are the only discipline which is a holistic science. We study everything. Anything can be a subject matter. So don't take that literally and start reading everything for anthropology. Just stick to the syllabus, okay. So that is what is anthropology. But anthropology as a term was not very popular. It's a very young subject actually. It's a very new subject. If not for UPSC optionals, I don't think anybody would, hardly very few people, maybe 100, 200 people would know what is anthropology in India. Okay, it is because of UPSC at least, anthropology has got lot of demand, or everybody knows about anthropology, at least in this field. But anthropology, as I told you, it's a very young discipline, unlike history, economy, geography, etc., which was, during the ancient time, from the Greeks, they have been studying that. Okay. Anthropology is very new, 19th century onwards, the systematic study of anthropology started, or anthropology as a discipline started only in 1800s in London to be taught. Okay, but anyway, so even then the word anthropology was not used. What was commonly called that time was ethnology. Okay, sometimes this also can be asked as a 10 mark. Okay, 10 marker, ethnology can be asked as a question. But anyways, anthropology's old name, okay, is ethnology. Now again break it down. Ethno means folk, or ethno means culture, tradition. Okay, logy means study. Okay. So it is the science of people, their cultures and life history as a group. Usually when you give definition, if you know the name of who gave the definition, you write it like this. It's a good way to write, good practice to write in your examination. Okay. So Initially when anthropology started, it was comparative. Again, don't get confused, listen to me carefully. Initially when anthropology study started, or study about society and culture started, it was comparative. Okay, I'll tell you why later. What do you mean by comparative? You compare one society with another society. So most of these studies started in Europe. Okay, most of these studies started in Europe. So when they colonized new areas, they were exposed to new society and culture. And they started comparing their culture with the native cultures. Okay, they came to India, Indians were wearing all jewelry and, you know, kurta, pajama, whatever. You know, they came with jeans and pant or whatever, you know. And they looked at us, okay, and we were having multiple gods. Okay, we wanted rain, we went to one god. We wanted crop, we went to one god. We wanted to clear UPSC, we went to one more god. Okay, so we had multiple gods. They had only one god. So like this, I'm just giving you an idea that there were several differences in the culture, and they started comparing. And obviously they'll say their culture is better, right? And we are barbaric, we are uncivilized, etc. And they started comparing. That is what is ethnology. So ethnology is mainly a comparative study. Okay? It is chiefly a comparative study analyzing the culture. The main purpose of this comparative study, again I am going a little ahead, later we will be discussing it in detail, is to understand culture development or changes. Okay, they said that we are primitive, they are civilized. So they said that our past were like this. So let me explain to you. So from Britain, they came to India. They said we are primitive, they are civilized. So they said, if you want to know our past, let us study Indians. So Indians represent our past. So how this changed to this, if you study, we'll understand how growth took place. So they wanted to study change. Okay, you'll understand later. Again, this is itself a theory called as your evolutionary theory. Later we'll discuss that, not a problem. So they did mainly compare. I'm just trying to give you this term, that's all. Otherwise the idea later we will discuss. Okay? So it compares, it analyzes the characteristic of different people and the relationship between them. So basic premise here is to study the growth and changes that occurred. But then later on, as the discipline evolved, they started using the word, anthropology became more commonly used, and one sub-discipline like biological anthropology, archaeological anthropology originated, this was given up. Today we don't use this to, as a term to represent the entire discipline. Okay? So what is ethnology is another name for anthropology, old name. Okay? Till about the first quarter of 20th century, okay, first quarter of 20th century onwards, we use anthropology. Before that, it was commonly called as ethnology. Ethno means ethnic groups and their study, logy. Okay? So that is ethnology. Similarly, another word also is used for anthropology, okay, which you will come across in several books and all that. That is your ethnography. So ethno again here is ethnic and people and their way of life. Graphy means lithography, etc. What is graphy? Means to write. Okay. So writing about a group of people is ethnography. See, everywhere the terms, etc. you will be understanding if you break it down. It's very easy that way. Okay. So what is it? Ethnography. Meaning what? Writing about people is ethnography. And how is it different from ethnology? Ethnology is study, yes, all that, but it is comparative. You study more society and you compare them. Whereas ethnography is mainly studying of a particular culture, one culture at a time. Okay. So you go, and sometimes ethnography is also used for the methods. It is used as a method used by anthropologists to study a culture. So I can tell myself that I am an anthropologist, I will go and do an ethnography of this particular tribe. I'll repeat again. Anthropologists will go to a particular tribe and conduct a ethnography, meaning they will write about it. So it is used synonymously with field work. So you go to a field, do a field work, and you write about that culture, it becomes, okay? Yes? Afternoon, the one problem is heavy meals, you know, and then after half an hour, 1 hour, you tend to, you know, doze off, okay? Try to avoid that, okay? And try to have a small meal, not biryani and, you know, come. Okay. Understood? So, I mean, I have to interact, otherwise even I will fall asleep. Yes? So, what is ethnography? Writing about a particular culture. So, as a method also, you write, to go conduct a field work and you write about it. Sometimes in some country, ethnography is used for anthropology. So, that is a pet name of anthropology, that is why I used it. Okay. So, simply describing a culture, systematic study of people and their culture. So, you provide empirical data. Empirical means reality, the present data on human society and culture. So, as I told you, it has two meanings. One, as a knowledge, where you collect all the information about a particular culture. The other meaning, it can also be used as a method of data collecting. Did you all understand? So, ethnography means it can be the study and writing of a particular culture. It can also be a method using which you collect data. Okay? So, don't get confused with that. So, it's a holistic study, meaning you study the entire society of that particular region or whatever. Okay? Okay? So, when an ethnologist, okay, we don't use the word now, anthropologists, okay, concentrate on only one group, culture, society, conduct field work and write about them, it is ethnography. Okay? Fine? Okay, don't complicate yourself too much, keep it at that. So, ethnography, study and description of culture of way of particular group. Ethnology is more theoretical study of similarities and dissimilarities among the human groups of the world, past and present. Okay? Fine. So, we will write down the meaning of anthropology. Okay. Okay, write down meaning, definition of anthropology. Meaning and definition of anthropology. Anthropology is a social science. Anthropology is a social science which studies mankind in its entirety, E-N-T-I-R-E-T-Y. The word anthropology is derived from the Greek word, you can write down that, anthropos, humankind, logos, study or science. Thus, etymological meaning of anthropology is the science of humankind. For a couple of days I will go slow, after that we will pick up pace, okay, so that you get used to writing or preparing for your mains, right. Every day you have to write 6 hours, remember that, okay, non-stop 6 hours, okay, in your final exam, not now, okay, final exam, every day you have 2 papers, right, 3 hours, no breaks in that 3 hours, okay. So 3 hours you will have to write continuously. I remember my, I had got an extra growth, I guess. If we evolve like this, they will have an extra addition to keep pen, evolution might change like that, okay. So, your finger starts paining, your, everything, so you get used to it now itself, right. So, by writing, that's another advantage, not just that you will make notes, but also get used to writing fast. So, anything about humans, continue, anything about humans can be studied from an anthropological perspective, Next paragraph. Anthropologists, next paragraph, anthropologist dash in points under that, study different aspect of cultural life, study different aspect of cultural life like family structure, political organizations, economic systems, religion, etc. Next point, carry out excavations to uncover information about ancient societies. Next point, study language to understand how this important human capacity shapes the way we perceive the world. Next point, observes other animals to determine which features we share with them and which are found only among the humans. This helps to understand our biological evolution. Next point, study genetics, human physique, morphology, and demography to understand human variation and adaptation. Next point, apply these knowledge for the betterment of humankind, like forensic anthropology, kinanthropology, 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 KINANTHROPOLOGY. See, basically it is sports, okay, study of sports and things to do with sports, sports anthropology you can call it, okay, etc. Next paragraph. Of course, each of these topics may also be studied by researchers from other discipline, What sets anthropology apart? Is that it brings together all of these different ideas, to provide an all-encompassing ENCOMPASSING perspective, all-encompassing perspective for understanding the human condition. Because they strive to take, because they strive to take all relevant data into consideration, comma, anthropologists tend to work from an interdisciplinary, comma, holistic and integrative perspective. Next paragraph. Thus anthropology studies all aspect of humankind, in all place, at all times, at all levels of development, both past and the present. Next paragraph. It aims to understand what is universal it aims to understand what is universal, comma, what is general. Universal means what is done by all people, correct? Universal. What is general? That means what affects everybody. And specific, meaning which is unique. So, our aim is to understand what is universal, what is general, and what is specific to biological, comma, cultural, and the social aspect of humans, and social aspect of human. Next paragraph, Marxist anthropologist, Marxist M-A-R-X-I-S-T, Marxist anthropologist Eric Wolf. Eric Wolf once characterized anthropology as in quotes, the most scientific of humanities, and the most humanistic of the social science. Close the quote. Because we study everything. We study society from the scientific point of view. We study biology from the cultural point of view. So, it is somewhat an integrative discipline studying everything. Terms. You can just give the subheading terms. In Europe, varying uses of terms, in quotes, anthropology, comma, ethnology, comma, ethnography, and folk life studies, study of the folk way of life, folk life studies. Matlab in different countries they were called differently. So, anthropology in some, even within that, socio-cultural. So, in Britain, later I will tell you, in Britain it was called as socio-cultural anthropology. In America it was called as cultural anthropology, right. So, in different countries they were called differently. So, ethnology, ethnography, in Germany and it was called as folk life studies. Okay. Between countries, continue, folk life studies, between countries and regions, as well as over time, often reflect significant historical and intellectual divide. Matlab differences, historically also, intellectually also, there were differences between different countries. So, you can give the heading ethnology, just few points on that you can write down. Ethnology, the old name, okay, the old name ethnology, okay. So, you can write under that in points you can write it's the old name, used up to the first quarter of 20th century. It is the old name of anthropology, used up to the first quarter of 20th century. You can write down these points. So, it is a science of people, their culture, life histories as a group. Kroeber defined it so, dealing chiefly with comparative and analytical. So, I hope you now understand the ethnology was mainly comparative. I will give you the story behind that when we talk about development of anthropology. It compares, analyzes the characteristic of different people and their relationship between them. Their main focus is how culture develops and the changes that takes place in culture or in the society, or changes taking place in society. See, I hope you will be able to appreciate, in ethnology also there is ethnography. Yes? So, ethnography is the first thing, you write about a culture, use that to compare, it becomes ethnology, right? I hope you are able to appreciate that. Okay, done. Can we say anthropology makes us understand future changes? Yes, so something like that. So, you try to understand the changes, social change, biological change that occurs. You are right. Okay, done. Ethnography, you can write down this. So, it is mainly descriptive. Ethnology is comparative, ethnography is descriptive. It is simply describing one culture. Systematic study of people and their culture and presenting this data, empirical data. So, therefore, it has two meaning, one as a source of knowledge, second as a method of data collecting. So, anthropologist goes and does field work, field studies and undertake ethnography. Deep in a way you can. Comparison is ethnology, okay, it is mainly comparative, ethnography is descriptive. See, it is not basically a difference, it is a term that were used, okay. So, Done? Okay. So the next topic is, yeah, you write down this also. Does ethnography involve necessarily field work? No, not necessarily. In the early, you know, early times of anthropology, they wouldn't undertake field work. They would collect information, secondary source of information. I'll explain to you that. Okay, so ethnography is about writing about a particular culture. So I said in a field work, when you undertake a field work, what do? You observe, you participate with their culture, and then you write about it. That writing part is our ethnography. Okay, is that fine? Vidya, is it fine? Done? All right, we'll start with the next topic, that is development of anthropology. See, now because it's a beginning, you might find all these things important, but when we do more bigger concepts, these and all might not something which you will be reading. You will know it by yourself. Okay. Anyway, so let me just complete it. So development of anthropology as a discipline, the history of anthropology. Okay. Since it's a very young subject, we don't have to go too much deep into finding out the growth of anthropology, but just for the academic purpose, we will see, we will just mention few words or few people who undertook similar anthropological studies even in the past. Okay. So let me just try to give you an idea. So this is in the ancient time, this is in the medieval time, this is the more modern time. So anthropology as a modern discipline, a systematic study that we see today, started only in the 19th century. Okay. Till then, before 19th century, there was no anthropology as a subject. Nobody exclusively, took up anthropology as an optional and all. That was not there then. Okay. It's a new subject. Okay. Before that, it was either people used to study culture as part of other discipline. So we try to trace our roots, okay, to that. Okay. So we can say in the ancient times, so the origin of anthropology or some kind of study about people, the way, their way of life, their culture, etc. You can trace it to a Greek philosopher or Greek historian, okay, Herodotus. So he has written about the culture of people especially Greek had conquered around 400 BC. They had 400th century, 400 year, that is 5th century. They had conquered Persian Empire. So he went there and wrote a descriptive, material about the people of Persia. So that writing is similar to what modern anthropologists write. So therefore, sometimes we call Herodotus as the father of anthropology, because he wrote about culture, about the society and all that at that point of time. So he's also called as the father of history. Okay, we have usurped him and we call it also as the father of anthropology, because some of his writings are about culture and society of people of that time, 5th century. Okay. Similarly, in the medieval times, we see during the golden time of the Middle East or the Arab world, we see several writers, we see several people who traveled across the world and wrote about the culture of those people. So Abu Rayyan Biruni, Al-Biruni, okay. So he wrote about the culture of the subcontinent. He wrote about their culture. Some of the anthropologists today said that he undertook participatory observation, meaning he went to that culture, he participated in their activities, meaning he ate food along with them, he participated in their economic activities, he was there in their political decision making. So he undertook participatory observation and he undertook ethnographic studies. Okay. So he is sometimes also called as the first anthropologist. He is considered to be the first anthropologist because he undertook participatory observation, which is a method that we will be discussing later, used by anthropologists to write about culture. Participatory observation. Okay. Similarly, following him, there were other Arab historians, including Ibn Khaldun. So he also wrote about culture and all that. So we can just say that these are all historical names we can quote in our answer. Similarly, your Marco Polo also, he came across in his journey across the world, he found many society, he wrote a descriptive material about their culture, etc. So sometimes he is called as the father of, your Wikipedia if you see, he is considered as the father of modern anthropology. See, anthropology has several fathers, okay, so a few mothers also, right. So everybody tries to, like Franz Boas, Americans call him as the father of anthropology. So there are several, you can just quote here and there that. In India also S.C. Roy, so we call him as the father of anthropology. So like that, there are several fathers for anthropology because we do not know exactly when it originated. It was always taught or it was always part of some other discipline. Like for example, in India it's part of sociology, MA in anthropology later. Okay. In continental Europe, it is part of psychology. Okay. Like that, different fields. Some it was always part of some other field. Now, two important development that took place in the world led to the beginning of the modern anthropology, or the systematic beginning of anthropology can be traced to two important development that took place in the world. One is your 17th, 18th century Renaissance, European Renaissance. Before that they lived in a dark age kind of a thing, where their political, economic, social life was dominated by religious institutions. After that, we call it as European Renaissance, which took place in 17th, 18th. Please understand this. See, this is what is important here. This is just the introduction, that even in the ancient time, people undertook cultural studies. There was no anthropology, but even in the past, people undertook cultural studies, like Herodotus in the Greek. Okay, then your Arab world, Marco Polo, etc. They did undertake cultural studies, but a systematic beginning of modern anthropology can be traced to two important development. One is the European Renaissance. So what happened then? I don't know if you know it, in school you would have studied in 10th standard, but European Renaissance, so end of the dark ages, more scientific thinking that took place in Europe, followed by industrialization, followed by what? Followed by colonialism, correct? So industrialization took place, so they needed raw material and market to sell their products. So they went in search of new colonies or new areas, okay, to find new bakras. They went across the world, right, and they colonized those people, imperialism, right? So that what happened over here. And European Renaissance led to scientific thinking in every discipline, whether it is philosophy, whether it is science, etc. And one of the important development in science that took place was that we realized that we did not appear by God. We were not created, or appeared on by God's creation, but we evolved from our primate ancestor. So the theory of evolution, biological evolution by Darwin, okay, led to, Darwin's theory has impacted almost all disciplines, including anthropology. Okay, so let's just have a look at that. So suddenly we are realized that we did not appear as human, but rather we evolved. Okay, what is evolution? This anyways we will be discussing as a theory later, but I hope all of you know what is evolution, biological evolution. Yes, what is this theory? What is that commonly called as? Darwin's survival of fittest. Correct, no? Like UPSC, right? Unless you evolve, unless you change, you will not be able to, right, survive, right? So something like that. So evolution takes place because of change, adaptation, and survival of fittest. Change is constant. Okay, change is constant. Some changes are better adapted. Those changes which are better adapted are accepted, and this leads to evolution in very simple terms. So Darwin, in his book on the origin of species in 1859, came up with this concept of evolution. It was groundbreaking idea, okay, and it had an influence on almost all discipline, including those who were interested in culture and society. So they adopted this theory to understand culture. Let me make it clear now. So Darwin came up with evolution. What evolution? Biological evolution. We basically this biological evolution, if you want to explain in few words, it is from simple to complex, right? So from simple, one cell organism, all other species evolved. If you look at Homo sapiens, they are more complex than the previous ancestor. Okay, let's say Australopithecus or Habilis or Neanderthal. They are more complex than the previous one. They are more complex than the previous one. Yes or no? Imagine our future, how much complexity they will have. Right? No, every generation becomes more complex. Right? So our, if you ask your grandfather, their life was very simple. Right? Morning you go, work, come back, over. Today social media, Instagram, you have to find how many likes you are getting. Oh my God, so much complexity is there. That is what is evolution. If you don't evolve, if you don't adapt, you perish. Correct? No, COVID may what happened? Online classes became a rule. If you don't do it, you will perish. If you say, no, I am not attending online class, you are missing out on lot of things. Anyway, so what I am trying to say is biological evolution, right, from simple to complex, influenced other disciplines. So those who were interested in society, culture, used the same principle to study culture or society. So they also said that our society evolved from something simple. Did you all understand? Initially, our past was very simple. We used to go hunt, come back, eat and sit. Today, we need a cook, we need so many masalas, we need so much effort and time and other things. So from simple it has become more complex. Okay, so people like Herbert Spencer, E.B. Tylor, they were all interested in understanding how society has evolved, and they took the idea from biological evolution to come up with what is known as cultural evolution. This led to the beginning of a systematic study of anthropology or systematic study of society, which led to the rise of anthropology. Did you understand? This was facilitated by the 19th century colonization. So what happened then later was colonization took place. Okay, so you had travelers, adventurers, missionary workers, political people, etc. They went in search of new areas, new places, new resources, etc. And they were exposed to new culture. And they sent back all these materials to their home countries. Okay, they said these people are worshipping so many gods. These people don't wear pants. Okay, these people wear something else, sari, they drape it around it. Okay, they say that people are marrying 10 people. Okay, we are marrying only one. They are having 5 wives. Okay, so something like that they wrote and sent it back. Adventurers. Okay, that time there was no Facebook, no, so everybody were, writing and things like that. And they sent it to these Herbert Spencer, Tyler, etc., who were sitting in England. So they were flooded with rich resources from these exotic countries. So they used to sit in the clubs, okay, drink wine, and they will be talking, discussing, what happened in India, what happened in Australia. Okay, so like that they were discussing, and they came up with these theories. Okay, they came up with these theories saying that those people are primitive, we are civilized. So therefore, we also might have been like them in the past. So they came up with different stages of cultural evolution, like how we say we came from primates, Australopithecus, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Neanderthal, and Homo sapiens, sapiens. Like that, they said culturally also we evolved from savagery to barbarism to civilization. So they said the tribals, the aborigines, they are savagers. The Indians are barbarians, and we are the civilized. This is how evolution took place. So the first theory in anthropology was evolutionary theory, influenced by what? Darwin's evolution. So I hope you understood this. Now if you summarize these two developments that took place in the world, that is one, Renaissance, followed by Industrial Revolution and colonization, flooding of the European countries with rich resources, materials from across the world about exotic societies, plus the theory of Darwin's biological evolution had an influence on the people studying society and culture, and this led to the development of theories and other things, and this led to formation of societies and associations on anthropology that I am called as ethnology, right? So they formed, these rich buggers formed societies, associations, and they started discussing, coming up with theories. They were called as armchair anthropologists. Why? Because they sat in their chairs, yes, air-conditioned office or whatever, no air-conditioned, but at least they sat in their offices and they used these materials to write their theories. They all have been refuted later on, saying that you are stupid to think that you are civilized. Okay, so like this, they wrote about it, and this led to the systematic beginning of study of culture, and in turn, anthropology as a discipline. So they started writing about, societies, etc., wrote books and journals. Various museums were set up. They got all artifacts. They stole from tribal chiefs, kings, and queens. They stole from that and took it back and displayed it in museum. So for that you needed experts. They also needed experts to justify them colonizing people, correct, no? Okay, so the Britishers, the Europeans wanted justification for their colonization. What is a justification in history you would have read? White man's burden. Why is it white man's burden? They said, see, we did not want to colonize. We are forced to colonize you people. We are forced to beat you. We are forced to make you slaves. We don't want to. It is our burden that we are enslaving you and making you do all our work. Why? Yes, because they said we are civilized, you people are uncivilized. You have 10 languages, leave all that, learn only English, right? So they said you are uncivilized, and that is how they try to justify their colonization, and anthropologists at that point of time did that job. In India also, anthropology originated because of colonialism. So when Britishers came to India, they could exploit the people better if they knew them better, correct, no? If they knew what they like and what they don't like, they can exploit them. So zamindars, the rich, if they pacify them, the entire country can be under their control. So even in India, the birth of anthropology is because of British colonization. Okay? So after that, many societies came up, associations came up with anthropology, on anthropology, journals were written, and this led to further growth, and then they started teaching anthropology in various universities. So the first one was in Oxford University in the year 1885, followed by Cambridge and in London. After that, in many other universities, anthropology as a discipline started, okay, and then even in the developing countries also, anthropology started, and they started studying, the anthropology as a discipline, many subfields also started emerging, right, not just socio-cultural or biological, other subdiscipline like linguistic anthropology, psychological anthropology, urban anthropology, folk anthropology, art anthropology, like that many subdiscipline emerged, and today anthropology is not just a discipline but also is a tool for the betterment of humankind, where anthropology as a knowledge is applied when colonists used it for wrong reasons. Today anthropology is being used for the betterment of society, for tribal development, okay, for promoting world peace by better understanding societies and other things. Okay, it's used in international relationship and things like that. Okay, so something like that you can write. Okay, fine. Is that okay, guys? So shall we write down this development very quickly? Few points on that. Development of anthropology, or growth of anthropology, or origin and growth of anthropology, something like that. Okay, development of anthropology. Anthropology traces its roots. Anthropology traces its roots to ancient Greek, to ancient Greeks, Greek historical and philosophical writings, about human nature, and the organization of human society, Anthropologists generally regard Herodotus a Greek historian who lived in the 5th century BC, as the first thinker to write widely on the concept that would later become central to anthropology. central to anthropology. Next paragraph. In his book, history, in his book, quotes history, Herodotus describes the culture. Herodotus describes the culture of various people, of various people of the Persian Empire, of the Persian Empire, which the Greeks conquered, which the Greeks conquered during the first half of 400 BC. Thus he is known as both the father of history and anthropology. Known as the father of history and anthropology. Next paragraph. So next is the Middle Ages, heading Middle Ages. One of the first scholars to carry out comparative ethnographic type studies, comparative ethnographic type studies in person was the medieval Persian scholar Abu Rayyan al-Biruni. Of the Islamic Golden Age, of the Islamic Okay, we got it.